Inside our controller, after we save the new file to the file system, we are creating a new add Ponka to image object and dispatching it to the message bus, or technically the command bus, because we're currently using it as a command bus. The end result is that the bus calls the __invoke method on our handler and passes it that object. Messenger understands the connection between the message object and handler thanks to the argument type hint and this interface. By the way, you might be thinking, wait, the whole point of a command bus is to just call this __invoke method for me? Couldn't I just, call it myself and skip a layer? And yes, it's that simple. It should feel completely underwhelming at first. But having that layer, the bus in the middle, gives us two nice things. First, our code is more decoupled. The code that creates the command, our controller in this case, doesn't know or care about our handler. It dispatches the message and moves on. And second, this simple change is going to allow us to execute handlers asynchronously. More on that soon. Back to work. All the code to add Ponka to the image is still done inside our controller. This gets an updated version of the image with Ponka inside. Another service actually saves the new image onto the file system. And this last bit, image post arrow mark as Ponka added, updates a date field on the entity. It's only a few lines of code, but that's a lot of work. Copy all of this, remove it, and I'll take my comments out too. Paste all of that into the handler. Okay, no surprise, we have some undefined variables. Ponkificator, Photo Manager, and Entity Manager are all services. In the controller, on top, we were auto-wiring those services into the controller method. We don't need Ponkificator anymore. Anyways, how can we get those services in our handler? Here's the really cool thing. The message class, add Ponka to image, is a simple model class. It's kind of like an entity. It doesn't live in the container and we don't auto-wire it into our classes. If we need an add Ponka to image object, we say new add Ponka to image. If we decide to give that class any constructor arguments, more on that soon, we pass them right here. But the handler classes are services. And that means we can use good old-fashioned dependency injection to get any services we need. Add public function __ construct with, let's see here, photo ponkificator, photo file manager, photo manager, and we need the entity manager. Entity manager interface, entity manager. I'll hit Alt-Enter and select initialize fields to create those properties and set them. Now let's use them. This arrow ponkificator, this arrow photo manager, this arrow photo manager again, and this arrow entity manager. Nice! This leaves us with just one undefined variable, the actual image post that we need to add Ponka to. Let's see, in the controller, we create this image post entity object, which is pretty simple. It holds the file name on the file system and a few other minor pieces of info. This is what we store in the database. Back in add Ponka to image handler, at a high level, this class needs to know which image post it's supposed to be working on. How can we pass that information from the controller to the handler? By putting it on the message class. Remember, this is our class, and it can hold whatever data we want. So now that we've discovered that our handler needs the image post object, add a public function __ construct with one argument. Image post, image post. I'll do my usual Alt-Enter and select initialize fields to create and set that property. Down below, we'll need a way to read that property. Add a getter. Public function getImagePost with an ImagePost return type. Inside, return this arrow ImagePost. And really, you can make this class look however you want. We could have made this a public property with no need for a constructor or getter. Or you could replace the constructor with a set image post. This is the way I like to do it, but it doesn't matter. As long as it holds the data you want to pass to the handler, you're good. Anyways, now we're dangerous. Back in image post controller, down here, add Punka to image now needs an argument. Pass it image post. Then, over in the handler, finish this with image post equals add Punka to image arrow get image post. I love it! So that's the power of the message class. It really is like you're writing a message to someone that says, I want you to do a task, and here's all the information that you need to know to do that task. Then you hand that off to the message bus, it calls the handler, and the handler has all the info it needs to do that work. It's a simple but really neat idea. So let's make sure it all works. Move over and refresh just to be safe. Upload a new image. And it still works. Next, there's already one other job we can move to a command handler system, deleting an image.